It's out next month as a single. It's Breakbeat Era and it's Bulletproof. It's Monday night on Radio 1.
Stuff that he plays and stuff that he likes and that, so that was sorted. And then there was this procession of stars in their eyes, hopefuls.
Were they? I mean, were they people who thought they looked the part?
To be honest with you, there were people who were in current bands who sworn us to secrecy because they'd probably gone back to the bands and they were going, listen, if anyone finds out I'm here, I'm going to get kicked out. So we had to keep it stum. But I mean, probably the one that you'd know about was Potsy, but other than that, we're not
at liberty to say. No. How much do you think? Or I mean, is it true to say that the new boys have given the band a fresh energy?
For me, personally, it is like being in a new band, you know, because I think we'd come to the end of the road. At the end of the last tour at the end of '97, I was fed up with the band and what it had become, and you know, and the people that were in it, and you know, I wasn't really enjoying it, and I was maybe being a bit moody on the road with other people.
Do you think you'd almost lost your sense of purpose for a while back there?
No, without. I mean, I was treading water since really the recording sessions of Morning Glory, you know, because I'd written Definitely Maybe, and that album out of the lot of them had a certain had its own direction and stuff like that. You know, it was a young person's sort of rock and roll album, and after that I was waiting for flashes of inspiration to come along, and they came in fits and bursts in Morning Glory with the likes of Some Might Say and Don't Look Back in Anger and that, and be here now, it was just like, you know, if you don't know what to do, if I give any young bands advice, it's like, if you're in a recording studio and you don't know what to do, it's best just to do nothing, just pack the gear up and go home. But
why do you think you carried on then? Was it just because it was the momentum was there?
It was well, we got back off that Morning Glory tour, and I'd walked out of the tour and stuff. The plan was to go and do one more album and then call it quits. But I suppose you're just not brave enough to say, well, you know, like, what am I going to do after this? So we just went in the studio and out it came, and then before you know it, you know, your manager's booked a load of gigs, and then you're obliged to go on the road. So it wasn't. It's not that I particularly wanted to do it. It was the thought of just sort of sat at home and not doing anything was more frightening than going on the road. I was going to
say, you wouldn't be able to do this, would you? Because you write a lot of songs. People always say, well, all the quotes that I read in the press about how prolific you are and stuff. If you were sitting at home, sitting on your hands,
it's like being sat on a spinning top, just going round and round and round, and the more you go round, the more the same things. You know, you just keep going round the same old path that you've laid for yourself. Really, it just became a little bit boring for me.
But did you seriously consider packing it in?
I did on a number of occasions. After that Morning Glory tour was one occasion, and after the BA Now tour, I probably didn't consider packing it in. But if we hadn't have had that 2-year space where, you know, I had to argue for a long time to get them 2 years off, people were going, nah, you know, what's up with you, blah blah blah, you know. And Liam being Liam is, you know, constantly mad for it, you know, and. But it was like, you know, I needed just to get away from it all, really, just because we'd just come at the end of it. It was just really stale. I mean, you can hear that on, you know, on the likes of All Around the World, you know, for instance. It's just like a band in the studio just going around the same old chords, and it was just getting a bit naff for me.
Do you think you're extra harsh on it now? On some of that, on looking with retrospect?
To be honest, I didn't really think that it deserved... Initially, the reviews that it got were fantastic, and I didn't think it deserved, like, you know, the 8 out of 10 that it got in the NME and stuff like that, and all the rest of it, and subsequently after that, I didn't really think it deserved the kicking that it got. So, you know, it was just another, you know, it was all right. I do remember at the time, you know, saying it was a lot of pub rock, and people were going, nah, what's up with your butt, you know. I stand justified on that.
I think, but don't you think a lot of that's down to people don't quite know when you're being sarcastic or not?
Yeah.
You see.
But you know, I mean, you know, it was, you know, we've been in the band together for like 8 years, and we had the same producer, and it was back to the same old studios, and it was the same old nonsense going on. It's just a lack of inspiration, man, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you sound bored now. Talking about it. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like as if we've just gone back there. But this is where we were last time you were in, virtually, and it needed some sort of period, I don't know, of re-evaluation or something. We prefer not to around here. Noel and Gem from Oasis are here. We'll play a track, which is another of the tracks which you'll be able to find on the new single, Go Let It Out. We'll play this and then talk a bit more after Let's All Make Believe.
what it takes to get through to you. So let's all make believe that we're still friends and we like each other. Let's all make believe in the end we're gonna need each other. Strangle my hope and make me pray to a God I've never seen, but who I betray. To the people who live the afterlife, in a place I'll never be till I'm crucified. So let's all make believe we're still friends and we like each other. Let's all make believe in the end we'll need each other. Let's all make believe that all mankind's gonna feed our brother. Let's all make believe that in the end we won't grow. So let's all make believe that we're still friends and we like each other. Let's all make believe in the end we'll need each other. Let's all make believe that all mankind's gonna feed our brother. Let's all make believe that in the end we won't grow.
It's Lamacq Live on Radio 1. Steve Lamacq with Noel and Gem from Oasis, about to play live for us in the Radio 1 Live Lounge. But that track, Let's All Make Believe, which is going to be on the Go Let It Out single, which is coming out on Big Brother.
It is, yeah.
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 Now, record company mogul.
Well, yeah, they said it had never happened. I recall a lot of highly paid people in the music industry being on television saying, "Oh no, it'll never happen. It's far too soon to the release of the album." But it is going to come out on Big Brother, and so is the album. And you know, once we got this record out of the way, and another one that we're in the process of writing, I think it'll be. I know I personally would like to go and sign some groups or something, or do something with it.
So how's it
been there just for us lot to bolster our own egos with maybe sort of give your mate a break.
Yeah. A bit like the label which you last came from.
Yeah.
But how's it going to work, this label? Have you taken people from Creation Records? You got mates?
Yeah,
well,
we haven't got, we haven't got that many mates in sort of in London, really. It was like when we first phoned Gem up. We just said, look, we're looking for a new guitarist, and we hate everybody else.
Damned by faint praise.
Which is like the wrong thing to come out with, because he sat there thinking, well, I'm only in because I don't like anyone else, But we've got a few people from Creation working for us, and then we're going to get other people who possibly are new to it, just to make it interesting and exciting. Really, you don't want people who've worked in record labels before, because they tend to be a bit cynical about it all, really. You know what I mean?
And they've also got a certain way of doing things, which may not be.
And they're all gossips in London, anyways. You know what I mean? You'd be like, you'd be reading in the papers what your next album was going, the artwork for the next album was, and all that nonsense.
Not only that, you'd probably be seeing it actually. To be honest. Just on the subject of the new album, I was saying it sounded like you needed some sort of break to get things straight in your head about where the band was going to go, almost. And some of this is almost reflected in the lyrics. Do you think?
Yeah.
There's a run of
how it all came about is that over the first 6 months of us having the layoff, I was writing bits and pieces, and I had to suddenly accept the fact that, you know, I write songs in a certain style, which is usually on, like, you know, I have an electric guitar or an acoustic guitar, and that is, you know, because towards the end of, like, being, I was like, you know, I wanted to make a complete radical change from what I do, but I had to accept the fact that, you know, I just sit and write songs on an acoustic guitar. So once I started from that point, it was like, right, okay, so I've accepted that now. Now, how can I make what I do, which is generally quite retro, the thing to do, just sit on a stool with an acoustic guitar and sing away. How can I make that more contemporary and make it sound more modern and more interesting to the people who are already into the band, and maybe the people who have sort of shied away from the band in the past? And so the first thing was, right, we need to change the producer, and the second thing was just a complete and utter change of approach to the way we recorded things. And then it was a case of, you know, going through drum loops and samples and stuff like that. And it sort of all built up from there, really. But Spike was the key to it all, really, because he'd worked with Massive Attack and U2 and that, and he was the key to getting it to a more contemporary level, you know.
Yeah. And lyrically, it's less ambiguous, far more open in a way. I mean, obviously, there's Liam's track, but the tracks which you've written yourself seem to be far more about you, out of that period.
Well, it was always difficult in the past to get really personal about songs, because then you knew at some point you would have to hand them over and give it, you know, to, like, your kid brother to sing, who's 5 years younger than you, and who obviously doesn't live the life that you lead. So that was always a problem in the past, and that would always stop me from getting too deep about things. But this time it was, you know, if we were going to go for a more personal approach, then it was like, all right, I just sort of got a bit deeper down into what the situations I was in at the time, really.
I think but don't you find as well, we were talking about this earlier on, and there are certain snippets of lyrics which are almost like the things you pulled out of the air on the first album. There's a line in Where Does It All Go Wrong? Something like, what is it? Do you keep receipts for the...
receipts for the friends that you buy. Yeah. Well, that song in particular is written about the circle of friends that I was moving in at the time, and they always seem to be on the verge of, like, it all seems to be on the verge of crashing in upon themselves, and it's just an observation of that, really.
There's a run of 3 tracks actually on the album, which obviously people will hear next month, but there's Gas Panic, Where Did It All Go Wrong, and Sunday Morning Call, which is probably my favourite track off the record, which all seem to have that feel, as a certain claustrophobia, but also maybe a standing back from everything, having a proper look at yourselves.
I mean, I do recall writing them in my house in London, and me getting really, really sort of down about the situation that I'd let myself get into with...
Were you letting yourself go?
It was mad for it gone mad, you know what I mean? And there came to a point where it's like, well, I don't want to end up being a wheezing old bag at sort of 45 years old, you know what I mean? And just never had the balls to give it up, or just, to get my head straight. And at first it was like, well, I'm going to get my head straight for about 6 weeks, and then that turned into 8 weeks, and lo and behold, it's now nearly 2 years now. So it was, it was me standing back and looking at what had gone on and what had gone wrong and stuff.
Okay. You're going to play a couple of songs from the new album tonight. What's the first one you're going to do for us?
The first one's called Who Feels Love, which is a bit of an old hippie type thing. It's quite a radical, different sound than it is on the album, but you got to hang in there with it because it goes on a bit. But it does sound better on the album, I have to say.
Okay, for the first time then, live tonight on Radio 1, it's Oasis.
2, 3, 4...
Spirit has been cured. to be if you could be the remedy who heals love.
It's Oasis in the Live Lounge here at Radio 1, and before you play your second track tonight, it's time to pick the track that you'll be covering when you record your session for the evening session later this week. This was the deal. Oasis said, we'll cover a song chosen by fans and listeners, anything but a Beatles song. The response, I have to say, was immense. Over the last fortnight, we've had, up to a weekend, we'd had about 6,000 emails from all around the world, plus calls and, you know, on the phone and cards in the post and everything. So what we've done, we've added all the votes together, come up with a top 5, which we'll be choosing from in the bag tonight. Top 5 most requested songs for Oasis to cover. They were The Who, My Generation, Blur, Country House.
Oh, can't wait for that one.
Can't think why. Rolling Stones, Sympathy for the Devil, Nirvana, Come As You Are, and Robbie Williams, Angels. Right, Noel, do you want to do the honours?
You can't hear this.
It's not quite like the FA Cup, is it?
No, it's not. No.
Should be a bit better than that.
And the winner is The Who, My Generation. It's I think Liam will be very pleased about.
Yeah.
So
are you happy with that?
Well, no, actually, because we've been rehearsing Country House all day, thinking we were bound to pick that. So
I think Andy'd be happy with that one.
He will actually, yeah.
What can you do with My Generation by The Who? Do you reckon? Make it longer.
Well, we could make it longer, and we could. I don't know, really. I don't know.
Change the lyrics.
But that's the beauty of it all.
Yeah. Put a moustache on it.
I beg your pardon, sir.
Do you think, just noticing the way you act tonight, is the chemistry something a bit special now? Do you feel like you've got a rock and roll gang again?
It's not so
between you
not
two?
So much a gang in the sense that we've known each other for years, but I think it's more of a musical gang. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm sort of quite obsessed with music up to a point where it becomes for my missus and that really like boring. Do you know what I mean? But I finally we're in a band where, you know, I mean Liam was always obsessed with music, but Andy and Gemma, I mean, these two in particular are like are right bang into it. You know what I mean? And it's it's good to be able to just sit down and chat about, you know.
I was going to just say...
so bootlegs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We used to never have them conversations on it, like, ever.
Well, it's funny, just the hanging out angle almost, because I saw you two walk past us in the queue at the Foo Fighters gig. I just thought,
right, yeah.
We were there to see helicopters.
Oh, of course, because they were supplying, weren't they?
Yeah.
But
just going out
the
to
helicopters,
gigs
we heard them on the radio, didn't we, on John Peel?
Yeah.
And then we just went, who was that? Helicopters, and it's kind of like a race to find who can find the most out about them, you know. Yeah. Oh, and they're from Sweden, you know, 3 points, you know.
But yeah, I mean, we go out quite. We've been down to the.
We did 3 gigs that night.
Yeah, we went to 3 gigs that night.
Oh, this is like being 17 again.
I went to see Southern Fly at the what was that? The Scala.
That was at the Scala.
And then went to see his band. We was on the way to the Scala, and we heard Tony Crean from Gold Discs. He was going on about this band Crashland, and he said, "Oh, tonight they're playing at the Monarch." Was it not? No, the Falcon,
the Barfly, yeah.
The Falcon. So we had this driver Chris, and we just scooched the brakes on and said, "Right, Camden it is," and went there, and checked them out, and then went down to see. Oh, I can't remember how it went because we were very drunk.
Because there was that other guy with loads of fruit on his head, wasn't there?
Oh yeah,
that the sort of Dr. John. But they were Dr. Zeus.
Yeah, I like the geezer. He had like a Telecaster with the mirrors on, like Sid Barrett, didn't he? But after that, we walked out because he had a bowl of fruit in his head.
And that's still a no-no. Whatever you do, bands, the advice from Noel Gallagher is you can do many things apart from the bowl of fruit on your head. Okay, listen, thank you very much again for coming in, and you're going to do another tune.
This one's called Sunday Morning Call, and we've had to edit this down a bit because it's got this big guitar solo bit in the middle, but they all sound naff on acoustic guitars. You sound like John Barry or something like that.
Catch the pigeon.
So we've cut that a bit out, and it's quite short, but it's your favourite song on the album, isn't it?
It's my favourite one. Yeah.
Me too.
It's one for the ladies. I think all the girls like this one because it's a bit soppy.
What are you saying?
What are you saying? Yeah.
I don't know.
Live then tonight on Radio 1. Thank you very much. This is Oasis, and this is Sunday Morning Call.
1, 2, 3.
Another Sunday morning call. You hear your head banging on the door. You slip your shoes on and then out you crawl into a day that couldn't give you more. But what for? And in your what you're not supposed to feel, and you take what you want, but you don't get it for free. You need more time, 'cause your thoughts and words won't last forevermore. But I'm not sure if it ever works out right. But it's okay. It's alright. When you're lonely and you start to hear the little voices in your head at night, you will only sniff away the tears so you can dance until the morning light. But at what price? And in your hand, do you feel what you're not supposed to feel? And you take what you want, but you can't
It's Oasis live on Radio 1. A version of that track will be on the album Standing on the Shoulder of Giants. More from Oasis on tomorrow night's programme. Thank you very much. Noel and Gem in the Radio 1 Live Lounge tonight.